Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be doing an exciting video about a brand new palette. I did my face makeup, curled my hair, threw my mask on, ran into Sephora, picked this up, came home, we're ready to film. This is the new Huda Beauty Naughty Nude palette. I just got this. I haven't touched it. I literally was in and out. So I want to tell you the pricing on this. It retails for $67. There is the Sephora VIB sale right now, and I am a VIB Rouge, so I got 20% off. I ended up paying $53.60 for this, and it did just launch today. All right, so here is the outer packaging. And then when you take it out of the box, it says Naughty Nude on it. And then inside of the palette, you have all these different textures. I know a lot of people were going crazy over this shade Slippery, so we're gonna get into that. Today I'm gonna be doing an eye look with this palette, giving you my first impressions. We're gonna do swatches, and then I'm just gonna tell you if I think it's worth it or not, see how they blend on the eye, see what that Slippery shade is all about. So if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into it. So just reading about this palette, it's a versatile palette with 18 shades and 5 wearable textures to create a dramatic smoky eyes as well as a variety of natural and sultry looks. It is cruelty-free and available at Sephora. I wanted to show you a close-up of that Slippery shade right here that everybody was losing their minds over. It's literally like pearl pigments encapsulated in a gloss. I do have to say, looking at it in person, I can see how some people would like see this and be like, ooh, like it's a little weird. Just the texture, I don't know, just looking at it, it's kind of like not the most appealing to the eye, but I wonder how it will swatch. So I figured that we could just go through and swatch these before we get into the look. Here are the swatches of the top 6. Turned my lights down so you could really see. Here are swatches of the middle row. So you have mostly mattes, a couple shimmers. That bottom shimmer is gorgeous. And these mattes definitely are deep. They can give you a lot of depth if you want to do smoky eyes. So here is the bottom row, much more metallics in this row. But the Slippery shade is on the bottom here, which is so interesting. It really is a balm. I'm gonna give you a close-up of this, but it's like a clear balm with a little bit of pigment in it, but it's very sheer. I really want to show you guys close up. So here's that Slippery shade. So if I run my fingers into it, it's a cream. It's a balm. It's not a powder shadow. And then that's what comes off. It's like Vaseline with a little bit of pigment in it. So hopefully those swatches helped you guys out, but really we want to zoom in and try this on the eyes. I don't really know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm definitely going to use that Slippery shade because I feel like you have to with this release. So let's go ahead and zoom in and get started. So I've got you zoomed in, got my hair out of my face. If you hear crazy wind, we have a wind advisory right now, so it's just very loud outside. There's moments when I'm like, is my house literally gonna make it through this? But I'm trying to figure out where I wanna start with this palette because looking at it, obviously it's a very kind of sultry mauve-y palette, but you could really stay neutral. You could go more purple, or you could go more kind of like a red. So I'm actually gonna start off with the shade here, Untamed. And all of the names in this palette are like about owning your sexuality and being very sexy, seductive. Like some of the names are arouse, rough, spicy, irresistible, tantric, naughty. So this is all about getting down, if you know what I mean. So I'm just gonna kind of pack this on. So I have a little bit of fallout, but no big deal. Nice rich color, very nice and rich color. My eye base, if you were curious, is just concealer. It's the Pat McGrath concealer. I don't typically use an eye base. It doesn't really make a huge difference for me, but I know some people swear by them if they have like oily lids or whatever the case may be. So I'm kind of just packing this on. And then I'm gonna take a clean brush and just very lightly just buff this and blend it. So I'm gonna go back in and build that up. That buffing just kind of buffed it away. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was the brush I used. So I'm just gonna use a different brush here. Kind of blend the edges up. I'm next gonna grab the shade Naughty, and I'm just using a Wayne Goss, and I'm gonna kind of try to blend that out. Just to soften the edges. I'm bringing it kind of in, but mostly just focusing on the outer part of my eye. So the more I look at these names, they're kind of making me laugh. Like one of them is Filthy. I'm like, ooh, okay. Filthy, Slippery, Juicy. I mean, I guess it's called the Naughty palette, so I'm not surprised. So now I'm just taking a clean brush and I'm just gonna kind of buff over these edges. Definitely want to add some warmth in here next. So I'm going to go into the kind of warmest shade in here called Arouse. That wind is literally going to like blow my house over. I'm like, so I'm going to use this to kind of just like blend in some warmth here so that it's not so purple. Purples and oranges are so gorgeous together. Yellows and purples are great together. It's like kind of that sunset vibe. I'm just going to kind of work this all over to blend. I'm going to bring in some of this orangey. This is kind of a pretty like muted orangey tan color. And I'm kind of bringing it up here. Almost like if I was going to go down and contour my nose, like right under my brow bone kind of, I guess, on the inside. Then just go back in. I feel like I'm losing that purple, which is a little bit strange. But we will press forward. I'm gonna go into the deepest shade here called Spicy. Spicy is kind of like that first shade we used, but a little more brown. So I'm just using my Wayne Goss brush here. Really just trying to blend this. Trying a different brush to see if I can get it to like stick. There it looks great, but I feel like once I start blending, it kind of wants to leave. That's interesting. I'm gonna go next into Provocative. So this one's one of those like marble ones, but it looks gorgeous when you swirl it. So I'm just gonna apply this to the inner part of my lid with my finger. These nails are not doing me any favors. Ooh, that's pretty. Definitely have fallout, so just kind of keep that in mind. This is dry, by the way. So I'm going back in with the deeper shades just to reinforce the outer edge here. I'm gonna grab the red kind of copper shade here. I'm just gonna apply this kind of like right to the center of the lid. Just to kind of mesh into that deep purple on the outer corner. I went ahead and threw on some lashes and a thin band of liner. This is Lily Lashes Synthetic. These are new to me and the style is called Houston, so I will link them down below. But I want to start on the lower lash line. I'm gonna go ahead and start with Arouse. I'm just gonna use this to add some more of that warmth in. This is one of my favorite shades I've used. So a really kind of unique orange tan color. Very pretty. My little Pomeranian's going crazy because Amazon's here. Woof woof. She says, I'm not happy about this. Next I'm gonna go into Spicy. And this is gonna go right next to the lash line with a really small brush. Winnie. She's Maddie. So I'm taking this about 3/4 of the way. And then I am gonna go into the shade Naughty. Just kind of mesh the two together here. So definitely this shade is powdery, and I noticed a couple of the mattes are really powdery. Just keep that in mind. Like, look at that fallout. So definitely, probably should have done my eyes first. I'm gonna take a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk liner. I don't even think I've used this yet, but I wanna use this in the waterline here. That wind is like insane. So normally I would leave my look here, but we do have to try that slippery shade, which makes me really nervous because it truly is a bomb. So it's like putting, like it's like a glossy lid, which I'm afraid it's gonna mess it up, but we have to go there. So I am going to go in to this really weird clear shade with a little bit of like a pigment. Let me zoom you in so we can see what we're doing here. So this is what it swatches like. So I've got a little bit on a brush. When you swatch it, it's just like very sheer. So I'm really not sure, but I want to have control of where I put it. So I'm gonna go right on the inner corner here and see if we can see a difference. I hope it doesn't disrupt. Can we see a difference? So there is with it and without it. I'm not sure if I'm seeing much of a difference. See a little bit of pigment when I put it down, but it is sticky. Like I can feel it, like, I mean, it's like Vaseline. I'm only gonna take it about halfway because I don't want to disrupt the shades on the outer corner. Here is my finished look using the new Huda Beauty Naughty Nude palette, and I want to tell you my thoughts because I'm kind of mixed. So I like the packaging. I think it's on par with her products. I like that it's slim. It feels really nice in the hand. You can store it easily. I think she wrote Naughty herself. So I think it's cute. You know, her whole thing was kind of like having sexual freedom and embracing her sexuality. And then inside, I do feel like the color story is a little bit deeper, more chocolatey than I had anticipated, but I do like that. For me, the mattes stand out in this palette just because they're really nice and rich, deep colors. I love that kind of orangey shade that I use to kind of blend out the edges. I will say I don't like this shade down here, Slippery. I feel like my eyes feel like sticky and I don't see much pigment from it. Like I don't understand the concept of the clear base but with the pearl in there because I don't really see any pearls. You guys can let me know down below, but I actually liked the look better before I put this on, which I kind of figured. So to me, this is a little bit gimmicky. You could use lip gloss, Vaseline, whatever you have. It's just not my favorite. Anytime you put a cream or a balm on top of eyeshadow that's powder, I feel like it can grab and transfer, and I can just feel it on my lids. I don't think this would be great for a long wear. So the shimmers in here are really pretty. You have different formulas, like I said. So you have the really high shine, kind of metallic. Then you have the marble ones, which are interesting. They swatch just differently than they look in the pan. Like for instance, this one up here looks very blue, but when you swatch it, it's kind of got that blue purple shift. So I think it's a beautiful palette. If you love really deep chocolatey reddish tones, purpley tones, I think you will like this palette. And I think because the sale's going on right now, it's a great time to get it because you get 20% off if you're a Rouge. I don't think that this is like my favorite palette she's ever come out with, but I do think it performed nicely. I feel like the shades are really deep, the matte shades. The shimmers were not as intense on the lid as I had thought. This shade looks crazy, crazy intense. I feel like it's kind of hard to translate on the lid, but you guys can let me know what you think. I feel like once I put on Slippery, it just kind of wiped away the shimmers. So do I think it's a good palette? Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think it's kind of on par with her other palettes. It's not my favorite of hers, but I do like the look except for that last shade. So let me know what you guys think down below. I will link this palette down below and then all the information about the sale. If you do want to pick it up, definitely recommend getting it before the sale is over. But my overall thoughts are just, I like it. I'm not blown away. I'll have to keep trying it out, and I just don't think that I would use that Slippery shade much. So that is my first impression of the new Huda Beauty palette. Of course, I'm gonna have to keep playing with it. I'll do some more looks. Let me know if you guys picked this up, what your thoughts are, if you're into it, if you're not into it. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe. I do a ton of trying new makeup videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.